Welcome back to Morning Live, and of course I'll still remind you of our social media handles: Instagram Switch TV KE, on both Facebook and Twitter, Switch TV Kenya. SMS lines always free for you, 22999. You can be part of this next engagement, whereby a government survey has shown more women turned to crime last year compared to 2017. Now, last year, the number of female offenders recorded by police rose by 9.8% to 15,221, according to the 2019 economic survey released last week. And one is more likely to encounter a female offender in Kiambu, Nairobi, and Meru, which had the highest numbers. Assaulting, creating disturbance, and possession of dangerous drugs were among the crimes that saw a significant increase in the number of female offenders. Very interesting, because now, as much as trying to fight crime, women are doing what men are actually doing, and sometimes they're saying women can do it better. In studio, I'm joined by security analyst Dennis Ntumbi, and he'll be telling us about what the sudden change is all about, because now we are surprised as men, because now we feel like still not all the women, but as you've seen, 15,000 women were recorded actually to have been involved in crime indirectly or directly. Good morning.
Morning.
What is happening?
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you.
An interesting topic on Labor Day.
Yeah, sure. On Labor Day, as much as we're laboring out here, some people want shortcuts.
The reason why I said it's an interesting topic on Labor Day, because it has an economic thesis to it.
Okay.
But you know, it's interesting just to discuss on what it is that we call the gendered theory of female offending, or looking at women as perpetrators of violent crime.
Okay.
Not just crime or violent crime. We know they're also victims of the same, but now they're perpetrators of violent crime, and the numbers are rising. But one disclaimer that we have to put is that the threshold or the number still is way below that of men. But what has been noted is a consistent rise year on year. And so if you look at perhaps a sociological approach, is that what we'll be interested to know is that what exactly is the problem? What is the genesis of having this spike thereabouts? Is there something that we are not doing as a society? Is there a happenstance that's going on that we're not aware of? And really then we have to point a finger at still social and economic marginalization of women. And that's the reason why I said this is an interesting topic on Labor Day. And I truly hope that our politicians, their trolleys, will not go there bickering and calling Shenzi type and all that, when we really have very, very serious integral issues. The reason why women are choosing crime as a source of revenue.
Not all women, some women.
You know, well, it's a choice by women.
Okay.
We can say some women, but it's technically women.
Yeah, sure.
It's because of still the woman is highly marginalized socially and economically. And to be absolutely honest, and of course I heard your intro, is that, you know, men will be pissed is how dare women come into a field that is purely for men. But you know, there's also women empowerment that says what a man can do, a woman can do better. And to be absolutely honest is that perhaps they're thinking of ways, some of the women, as I said, are thinking of ways of earning revenue, you know, from areas that preserve their dignity a bit, because sometimes selling your body as a prostitute may be less dignified than you being a hardcore criminal, where you put a gun on someone's head and say, give me your wallet or give me your ATM card and all that. But the truth of the matter is that there's adverse socio and economic marginalization. And this is something that we really need to look at. And to be very honest, one of the critical things that you see today is that a lot of homes are then falling into the hands of the woman as a breadwinner. And that's a thing that we need to critically look at. In a place, in a society that marginalizes the same woman economically, to be absolutely honest, is that a man is likely to get a job more faster than a lady. And to be absolutely honest, is that when you're a lady in this country, you're likely not to get work through a just manner. You know, you're likely to be asked to use your body as a trading tool or your body as a qualification. So at the end of the day, the woman really needs to preserve her dignity and look at where else can they venture. And unfortunately, the daring ones then are falling into crime. But unfortunately, they end up getting hurt, because that's a very, very vicious field. And so we are likely then to see the emerging breadwinner then leaving homes unattended, you know, through extrajudicial killings and whatever it is. So this is a matter that is integral to society. When you see the woman then getting into some of these folds, we need to get buoyed as a society, because it means we are really not taking care of the interest A of the family and of the interest B of the children and of the interest of the woman. So that this is actually a dysfunctional society, technically.
So does it mean it boils down to a man who kind of has left a gap in our society, whereby now, you see, during our parents' days, the man was a breadwinner, was looked upon to in every sector, from security, from welfare, from food and everything, just empowerment in the family. Why are the men? Are the men causing all this?
There has been a reemergence of what it is that we call the pink man. And, you know, the pink man really lacks the legitimate masculinity or masculine traits of leading from the front, and also being a shepherd from the back, and, you know, getting out there and soiling his hands and sweating it out and all that and breaking his back. So we're seeing a man who wants to be much more comfortable, and a man who really, you know, wants to be a potato couch and all that, but a lot of emphasis have been put on the girl child empowerment, with very less being put on the boy child empowerment. In fact, it's vital to say that a lot of the energies that the boy child has have been used for drug abuse, sexual exploitation, and many other things. And I keep on telling them, you can use the same energy. It's an attitude problem, but also is just the wrong focus on the priorities that society is putting on in terms of raising the family. So the truth of the fact is that you know, everything nowadays, you know, there's a large segment, or an emerging segment, if you like, where we are seeing the children being left to the care of the woman only, because then the male can bail out. So then if that is it, then the principal care and the principal caregiver, the principal caretaker of the family, then by default then becomes a woman. So in harsh economic times, and not just in harsh economic times, in a sector or a community or a society or a country where the woman is profiled negatively when it comes to accessing jobs, when it comes to social status, then your guess is as good as mine, is that they'll be looking at other avenues to stay alive and to stay afloat and to survive in a society that's
so absolutely harsh. So it simply means the man is nowhere.
You know, the man must be the leader. The man must emerge to resolve this mess that the man has created, by the way. Because technically, when you see trouble in societies, it means that the man has slumbered, the man has slacked, and technically not being who the man is ought to be. You know, so there has to be you know, a re-engineering back to the original order of God, and ensuring that even from a family perspective, you know, our attitudes, our values, our systems really give the woman the prerequisite care that God spoke about, the decrees of God, and really is that we prop her in the necessary care that there is. Otherwise, we're likely to see in these new millennia a woman that we've never interacted with before, and that's absolutely not good for the well-being of the family. When you take care of a woman, you take care of the family, you build a society technically. You know, so this is not a conversation of maybe perhaps. This is a conversation of must do. It's something that we must underline. And I always say, for me, really the true gender empowerment must focus on a family as a whole, so we don't marginalize the boy or the woman or the child and whatever it is. We have to look at the prerequisite policy, law requirements, economic requirements, value requirements of what the family desires and what the family needs to be given. Then for us not to see this are actually, you know, the tip of the icebergs of the problematic root that the society has created itself, led by a man who is becoming dysfunction to his own biblical or divine role.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, looking at these towns involved, you have Meru, Kiambu, Nairobi. Of course, Kakamega has actually registered the highest number, among the highest number of towns actually where women take part in these vices. So, does it mirror what is happening in the whole country? And also something else, are maybe some people over-empowered? Because now, as much as you talked about empowerment, there's also the aspect of now getting it by force. If diplomacy fails, you use force.
The truth of the matter is that those communities or regions, if you like, I'd like to use the word community, because then it means it's their ethics that are not working. It's just systems that are not working. They have really absconded to take care of the woman.
Okay.
You know, I like the Islamic model of how they look after their families and their woman. Is that it's very hard for you to see a destitute from the Muslim community or from the Indian community, absolutely. But there are societies that do not give 2 feet about the welfare of the woman. Whether she's a widow or whether she's not established, even accessing education, accessing healthcare. In some of those counties, you know, women are asked to trade sex and thereabout. So the counties that have recorded the highest, it is really a shame poster and a shame flag for the men and for the elders and for the churches in those communities, because it means they have absconded on a primary role of ensuring that they empower the woman, and you know, from a policy perspective. And you know, some of this, and you know, it's prudent to note that, you know, even when county assemblies sit, they never draw policies that prop the family.
Okay.
They never draw policies that prop the woman. They never draw policies that prop the man. What good is a road when the society is broken down?
Yeah, sure.
The principal factor where we must focus most of our energies is actually ensuring that the family unit grows to be strong. I grew up from a home where my mom is an absolutely empowered woman, but she knows her place on where to place my father and all that from an honor perspective. So the truth of the matter is that, you know, she labored where she can and she was supported where she can.
Okay.
And you know, that then caused her to take care of us, even as at now that we have our own families.
Absolutely.
So the truth of the matter is that if we focus on empowering the woman, it is a shame that those societies have elders and they have men and they have families and they have all these even parachurch organizations and even perhaps NGOs that are doing absolutely nothing to make sure that we don't see this shame propping up. This truly is the biggest stamp on a shameful society that we can get.
All right. We're taking a short break. When you come back now, I want to focus on solutions. As much as we're talking about women, the number of women rising as far as crime is concerned, the solution is actually to be taken care of. There's nowhere that you cannot have a solution. So all that's coming to you after a short break. Welcome back to Morning Live, and the focus on solution is something that indeed will prove to be at least a solution also to what we are now talking about, because as much as we are having this mind-boggling idea that women are involved in crime, it's something that indeed our society could not allow some time back. Men are known to be in this sector for quite some time, and with me in studio, of course, is Dennis Ntumbi, who is taking us through this conversation, which is sensitive also, but again, at the same time, we need to look at the solutions. What's the way forward? Now, quickly into the solutions, we need to talk this thing tough.
Absolutely.
As much as we're talking about the numbers increasing, there's an aspect also of laxity in our system of maybe control, security. As much as we're talking about women in these issues, drugs, burglary, robbers, security. How is security on the ground? The bigger picture is safety. Yeah.
You know, the truth of the matter is that security is never a solution to social problems. You know, it comes from a legalistic perspective.
Okay.
And law has never resolved moral issues.
Sure.
And that's the truth of the matter, is that the criminality of female offending or female offenders is something that has been neglected over the years. In fact, even if you try and look for research, scientific research, sociological research, you would hardly get it. The reasons behind why would a male or why would a female become a violent offender when really we see females as absolute caregivers is really something that is still baffling sociologists.
Okay.
I look at security, and even though I'm a security player, I look at it from a perspective of, you know, first of all, before you reach out to your AK-47s and gun them down, we need to look at this scientifically and from a sociological perspective, and also from a biblical perspective. The truth of the matter is that we must be in a position, you know, whereby we reevaluate where we are as a country. Is whereby we go to a place where there's we look at moral issues that have escaped our hands, and then we go back to reinstitute them. The truth of the matter is that, do we want to pile our jails with women upon women upon women? Because if we don't deal with the root, then we are likely to see more. And you know, the astute thing about women is that they always recruit each other into something. That's the reason why they're the biggest with chamas. We don't want them to leave the chamas and now go and grab AK-47s and Seskas. My brother, we will get finished in this country. We want them to go back to where they love morals, to where they love to look after families, you know, to where they can access economic situations, to a place where there's no social profiling, you know, to a place where opportunities are balanced and are just, you know, and even though you're accessing the job market, and even though, you know, there's no social profiling for you, we want you to be a woman of good standing, because the society is driven by people of good standing. In fact, good people. They don't have to be perfect, but they must be aware of their shortcomings. But the truth of the matter is, first of all, going to the reality tables and looking at what is it that we have missed as a society. And the tragic thing about a capitalistic nation and a capitalist society is that, Nick, you just think about you. You don't even care whether your neighbor is short, dark, brown, fat, slim, whether they ate for 17 days or not, and you have a lot of food. We must go back to a society and a community that cares about each other. A community that, you know, as per the biblical precepts, is that you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it means that if I buy one packet of sausage, then I must buy my neighbor a second packet of sausage. That is what happens. If then I'm eating big ugali, it means I also have to make sure that my neighbor's house is also smelling of the same ugali. So the truth of the matter is that we have just to go back to the basics. We have to make sure that, you know, the woman is not socially profiled or marginalized, and that the woman is not economically marginalized or profiled wrongly. That they access the same opportunities that we access. Is that we deliberately, and I say, by the way, let me tell you what, even when you get married, like me, you'll know that the best way to live a luxurious life is to make sure that your wife accesses more of your money. By the way,
but I'm married.
Oh, you're married. I agree. You're married. But the truth of the matter is that any economic empowerment to the woman, it means that a lot of that money, by the way, goes back into taking care of the principal aspect. But we also have to ensure that the church, which and religious organizations, which are then the moral caretakers of this country, do a lot more other than just the pulpit service. They do a lot more to prop the families. They do a lot more. By the way, there's a great crisis in this country, and that is, you know, the single parenting, especially, you know, from the female perspective, is that we're actually ranking top 5 in the world. So you can imagine the weight, the economic weight of the woman in this country is immense, while we are still a young country, while we are still encouraging you and the others to give us 5 children per family at the end of the day, because we are still we are a young country. If you look at the United Kingdom, which is almost the size of Nairobi and Kiambu, has 90 million or 80 million people. Kenya, we are still at 50. So we need to hit 100 million at the end of the day, because the power of a nation is in its human resource.
Okay.
But today, even when a lady gets pregnant, the first thing she's thinking is, how will I raise this child, or how will I survive economically?
Yeah.
So the economic pressures on the woman today,
with the gap
living in
of
this
a man,
country,
with the man actually being nowhere.
you know,
Yeah.
the man is somewhere but nowhere at the same time.
Yeah.
The guy appears when it's seed planting time, but when it's plowing, the man is no. When it's plowing and inputting the seed, but when it comes to tilling the land and making sure that the harvest is taken care of, the guy pulls a hiatus. You know, at the end of the day, so we need a responsible generation. We need a responsible society, and that society is ensuring that the man takes his responsible place, that the man actually knows how to be a proper patron. The man knows how to be a proper caretaker. The man is not afraid of responsibilities. We're not afraid of legislating on behalf of the woman. We're not afraid of putting policies deliberately to prop the family. And you know, I belong to an organization called Kenya Christian Professional Forum, and we're working on the family policy. And this family policy ensures that there's no absolute discrimination of any family, you know, thereabout, from an economic perspective and from a social perspective, you know. So the fact is that we have to analyze, we have to do scientific approaches, we have to do sociological approaches, we have to do divine approaches to ensure that we don't have such fruits that actually women are robbing us. Let me tell you what, if a lady puts a gun on my head, I say, you know, please, look, what issues are you facing? Is it the rent, or you have 4 children?
You know, it's easier to say than done. Eh?
No. I mean, the truth of the matter, if any of you gets robbed by a female, please ensure that one way or the other, you ask her whether she's going through financial trouble, or she would want to get assisted, or she would want to live that life at the end of the day. Let me tell you what, I am not in the habit of...
There's a gun involved, my brother.
I mean, look, we see police carrying them.
This person is on a panic mode.
No, they're not in a panic mode, but you can have a conversation with them. You can give them the wallet.
She's in a rush. What conversation?
You see, your life is more important than 10,000 shillings or 100,000 shillings.
Just hand it over.
You know, you can hand it over, but you can have a conversation with her.
Okay.
You can say, you know, I'm very sorry for the fact that society has marginalized you. Wow. And I'm very serious about this conversation I'm making. I'll be apologetic to that woman. I am apologetic to any woman that I see standing out there and prostituting in, you know, solid cold. They can make better choices, but at the end of the day, who is responsible in driving them towards that route? It is me as a man in this country, in this generation, and I call myself a leader. But we have a broken down society that feels nothing about the woman. In fact, you know, the boy child is killing the woman, you know, right, left, and center, when they are truly supposed to be the leaders. How can you be offended by giving a woman 10,000 shillings, surely? If somebody came to me and said, I have a problem, would you be able to help me with some money? I'm not going to take advantage of them. I'll seize the opportunity to lead and to ensure that, you know, you're well fed, you're well taken care of. Even a simple word of supporting that person will uplift them forever. So we need to make sure that we don't just profile, and we don't just say women are the criminals now, they're overtaking the men. It's not a contest of immorality. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that there's moral reformation in the country. That is a principle that we ought to be operating on. Unfortunately, globally, it's been a trend of making sure that the woman is exploited. Even through her, you know, fertilities and all that. The kind of the big farmers that produce medicine just to exploit the woman are major. The beauty industry. Then we can't be the ones exploiting the woman further in the society. So we need to make sure that we approach this biblically, sociologically and scientifically to make sure some of these blunders, this is a great blunder. And I pray that those guys who call themselves trade unionists, the Ministry of Labor, will be concerned about this reporting and this revelation, and they will truly work to do something about it. I get offended when I see our mothers being chased as hawkers, when we really have billions. My brother, we have billions just to make sure that we prop them. And I thank, you know, the second lady of this country, Madam, Her Excellency, Madam Ruto Rachel, for coming up with the initiative. Simple but powerful initiatives to empower the woman. The question that I'll be asking communities and societies in Bungoma, what initiatives have you put, is it Bungoma or Kakamega? Kakamega.
Yeah.
What initiatives have you put through for your women to be, sociologically and economically empowered? Kiambu, what, and we know Kiambu has a serious man crisis because of the alcoholic, and Babayo is trying to resolve that. But what programs have you put in place to ensure that you empower the woman sociologically and economically?
Sure.
What policies have you legislated as a county government? And even when it comes to National Ministry of Labour, we'll need to wake up and ensure that we don't take 4 years or 10 years to legislate something that's simple.
It's a Labour Day, and of course, just statistics from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, we have that the modern or formal sector employment had 880,000 women compared to 1.6 million Kenyans in 2017. That's according to the study. Now, the formal, this shows women trail men by 65.6% points in formal employment. Wow.
That's staggering. And as I said, the economic marginalization in this country is staggering. And you know why? The truth of the matter is that even when you go for an interview and you're pregnant, they won't employ you. Is it shocking?
Wow.
You need to balance between being a mother and just being employed.
It's true.
You know, at the end of the day, let me tell you what.
It's true that.
We need to make sure that in this country, any lady who is carrying our baby, because we need to own babies as this country.
Yeah.
They are ours. They are called Kenyans. You know, at the end of the day, is that we put a stipend for them. We actually finance the pregnancy, and we finance the motherhood, not just ensuring that they give birth for free. No, the greatest responsibility thereafter is ensuring that we raise that person to be a responsible Kenyan. And you know what? We can put funds towards that. It's just, it takes little tweaking of policies and here and there. And even the county governments actually can take the lead because healthcare is under them and a lot of these things. The truth of the matter is that we can finance, even our single mothers and thereabout. Let us not ignore fundamental problems that we have, and let us make sure that we fund the future of this nation. Funding the future of this nation is not making sure that we elect the loudest politician or the most violent. Is ensuring that we rally around motherhood. We rally around females. Is that there will be no weight whatsoever when you desire to be a mother. There will be no weight whatsoever. And I'm talking from an education, sociological, and economic standpoint. There will be no weight whatsoever when you desire to marry or when you desire to run a family. That nothing at all, other than you being present and you being a good parent and ensuring that the children grow towards supporting a viable legacy that you have. In this country, there should be no weight. And you know, it's interesting that if today I'm made the president of this country, my first approach will be towards propping the family, because that's what we need to put most of our energy. We cannot do mega projects, roads and SGRs, when really the family unit in this country has zero support from a policy and an economic perspective. It's a grand shame for this country.